What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I'm going to give you some real financial advice. This is not any clickbait. This is real financial advice that every single person can do, and I guarantee you it will save you on more than one occasion. Back when I used to work, some years back before I retired, all right, my coworker had this great idea, right? Because I'm telling you, I was always in the negative, right? Even though I had a job, I was always in the negative. I would spend, I would be buying stuff, and then, you know how some banks got that overdraft thing where you can go a certain amount and you can just, use it like credit, but then you got to pay all those goddamn fees and stuff. I was notorious for that. I was notorious for it. So my friend, she got tired of me always coming to work complaining like, yeah, I'm negative. I'll be negative like $400-$500, right? Right? Like every week. And it was unnecessary because I was just being financially irresponsible, right? Even though I knew I was making enough money to pay it off when I got paid. But between paycheck to paycheck, I would have no problem being in the red, right? But then every now and then something would come up, right, where I didn't have any more credit to use on that red, and I really needed that money right now, and I didn't, right? And one thing I don't like to do, I don't like to borrow money from people because I'm the type of person that's going to pay you back, right? And so I don't want to have to pay you back. So I try my best not to borrow, right? But I do have certain friends that I will borrow from, and I call them, one I call the bank, another I call the credit union, right? And I always make it a point to pay them back immediately, right? It's to keep good standings with them. But so my friend, right, who I don't borrow money from, she said, you know what you should do, right? What you should do is go open up another bank account, right? One, and don't get a card. Don't get any, cards. Don't do anything but open up the bank account. Maybe a savings account, just one account. And then from your main account, your direct deposit, you need to direct deposit a certain amount of money to that account, all right? And then forget about it, right? And it has to be something, amount of money that you wouldn't miss, right? Something that you can just, every month, you can just not miss it at all. And if you really think about it, right? A lot of us who say we broke, we ain't got no money, but yet we got all these Amazon packages coming in. We got these Temu packages coming in. We got them TikTok packages coming in. But yet we say we ain't got no damn money, right? We do. It's just that most of us are irresponsible, to a certain extent. And we get the things that we want immediately and we don't want to wait, right? And when we really need that little bit of money, right, we don't have it because we spent it on something that we wanted. Because we like to buy things in order to appease ourselves because life is so hard, right? All we do is work. We want to entertain ourselves. So we say, hey, we deserve it, right? So we just get it, right? That's human nature, right? But like I said, every now and then there's something that comes up and you just ain't got it. And sometimes the people that you want to borrow, you reluctantly borrow money from, sometimes they don't have it. And you have zero avenue to get that money that you need immediately, right? So she said, open up a bank account, right? Put like $100, $200, it could be something like that, $100, $200, even if you can only afford $50, right? Just sit it over there, just set it up, right? You don't want to be having to manually do it every goddamn 2 weeks, right? And you should do this every paycheck, a little bit. So let's say can you afford $50 every paycheck? Can you afford $100 every paycheck? Think about all the things that you spend on a daily basis that you don't think about. What do you buy for lunch? How much money do you spend for lunch every day? Some of you spend about $15, $20 for lunch every day, right? When you could be, making your lunch and taking it to work. But you don't do that because it's more convenient just to buy something from the food court or just to buy something from the restaurant across the street, right? Instead of just going to the grocery store on Sunday, buying your lunch, and it'd be drastically cheaper, right, to bring your lunch, right? So you need to change your habits so you can free up that money that you've been blowing on overly expensive processed food and send it to yourself. And view it as a bill, right? View it as a bill to yourself because you pay your cell phone bill every month. You have to pay that or your cell phone's going to cut off, right? You pay your water bill, your electric bill, you pay your mortgage, or you pay your rent. You have bills that you're obligated to pay for all these corporations, right, that suck your money every month, right? but you don't pay yourself. You don't pay your bill, right? So you think about it as a bill that you absolutely have to pay, right? And this money is emergency money, okay? Not emergency money, but it's emergency money, all right? So you send it to whatever account. Let it be, if you can, make it a bank that you can't get to, right? Make it a bank that you don't have. Make it as hard as humanly possible to reach any physical bank at all. Maybe there's a bank that's across town, or a bank that's not in your state, but just send that money off every month and then forget. Literally, once you set everything up, forget about it. Every 2 weeks or every month, but I recommend every 2 weeks, especially if it's a savings account, right? Send that money off and forget about it. Don't worry about the daggone. Don't worry about make sure you have paperless mail. So you're not even getting physical mail in the mail. You're just getting emails or whatever, right? And then just forget, like literally forget about it, right? And just go about your life after you forget about it. And when you have a regular emergency, right, do what you normally do, right? But don't tap this money. The discipline that you need to have is not to touch the emergency money, right? Continue to do the things that you've been doing. And before you know it, you will legitimately forget about this money. 6 months will go by. A year may go by. 2 years may go by. You'll be oblivious. That's why you got to make sure that money you won't miss. Because if you don't miss it, you can forget about it. If you put too much in there, you can be hurting every month. It's going to remind you that you got money sitting somewhere. So it's got to be something that you just, whatever. So if it's just $25, if you can forget about $25, put that in there, right? Whatever. It's up to you, right? But forget about it. And I'm trying to tell you, one day you're going to have an emergency. Your friends, right? The people that you may go ask, hey, get a couple dollars. They may not have it, right? You may not. There's no avenue. There is no avenue for you to find this money, right? And what's going to happen is you're going to be when you're brainstorming about, damn, I really need this damn money. I really need this money. Something's going to go, you're going to remember, because now you're thinking about every which way to get this money that you desperately need it. And then that's when you're going to remember, oh shit, I got a damn bank account with money in it all the way over here, right? And then when you go see what the balance is, because you totally forgot about it, when you see how much money you done saved up on accident, it's going to blow your goddamn mind. I don't know how many times I've saved myself. I'm telling you, by doing this technique, I've saved myself personally. I've got my own loan from myself. I've saved myself more than 50 times. I'm telling you, I promise you, more than 50 times. I've rescued myself from one of life's inevitable problems by doing this technique. It's the easiest way to save money, right? I also recommend, when you do something like that, if you can afford just a little bit more, in that same bank, open up a savings account, right? That has a interest on it, or maybe a high yield savings account, right? Or maybe a a CD, right? And make that CD for like a year or 2 years or 7 years, right? And put an even smaller amount in that. So you make a CD for 5 to 7 years, right? Right? Put $5, $10 in there. Something that's so insignificant, you definitely won't miss that, right? And just because you can't touch it, it's just going to keep building, and it's going to build interest. All these things you can do. You don't need to buy nobody's ebook to do this stuff. You don't need to go to no course. You don't need to go to no seminar. You don't need none of that. Call your bank, right? And ask what they have available. Shopping. You want to go shopping for CDs and mutual funds. Even if you could just put $5, you can start one for $10. Open up every single CD and mutual fund you can in your bank. And whatever that minimum payment is, if you can afford them all, set them all up. And make sure that you got different mature dates. You get the one that got the 7-year mature date. You got the one that got the 5-year mature date. You got the one that got the 1 year mature date. You got the 6-month mature date. Each of them are going to have a different interest rate, right? Based off the amount of time you have it sitting there, right? And just put the most amount of money that you can possibly afford, and not think about it, right? And the discipline that you need is, when you're doing this, understand you're not throwing this money away. You're putting this money away to the side. It's your money and it's working for you. This money is working for you, right? So it will build up over time. And the good thing about CDs and those mutual funds, you can't touch it until a certain date. So it forces the discipline on you. All you have to do is set up the direct deposit. Just do that. Let it do it for you. And then you ain't got to think about nothing else. Set these things up as much as you can afford, right? Dollar cost average. You got a dollar cost average. Whatever, when you pay all your bills throughout the month, you got to make sure you have money to play around with to entertain yourself. You still got to continue to entertain yourself and live, right? And a little extra money. And then the rest need to be going over here. And just continue to think about, what it is that you don't need. And then let's say you got a credit card, right? You pay your credit card off. And your credit card, you were paying it maybe $100 a month, right? So that bill that you've been paying, that you finally paid that credit card off, that $100, you think, oh, I can put that back and I can go blow that $100 on something else. No. Take that $100 that you was not missing because you've been paying that bill. Take that $100, move it over to even the savings account. Split it up and add more to your mutual funds and your CDs. Because you weren't used, you already was used to spending that money anyway. Move it over, right? Now let's say you got a cell phone bill and now it's lowered because you paid the phone off. What is that difference now? You may go from like $150. Now you're not paying for the phone. You may only be paying $50 for the phone for your service, right? That's another $100 that you're used to not having. Take that money, throw it in one of them CDs or throw it in one of the mutual funds that you already built up. Keep in mind, this is savings. You're getting interest, so don't think about it as, oh man, I can use that money. No, you don't need it. You was living just fine without it. Throw that money over there because it will benefit you later. The problem is most of us got we want short-term gratification because we want everything now. That's a terrible way to think. We have to be thinking long-term, mid-term, right? Because I promise you, when those mutual funds and CDs mature, you'll be happy that some years ago you made one smart decision for yourself. This is you paying your own bill. You're forced to pay everybody else and make everybody rich. Why can't you do it for yourself? You probably won't get stupid rich doing this, right? But you'll be better off. You'll start compounding interest, right? You'll start building good habits to save more money. You'll start getting excited every time you open up your app and look on your phone, be like, dang, that money mine? You know you can't touch it. You can still look at it like, oh man, this thing growing. That'll give you the motivation to go ahead and fluff it up a little bit more, right? Now you're becoming financially responsible. You're learning how to be patient. You're learning discipline. These are all good characteristics that you can add to yourself to improve yourself. And then show somebody else how to do it. And then show your kids how to do it. Be a good example for your children. You do it. And then you make your children do it. Set up one for them. Like if you got a little child, you need to be setting up a young savers account that's just for them. If they're like 5 or 6 years old, right? You set up an account that you don't touch. That's ever growing. And even if it's just $5, $5 over what? How many years of interest is something, and something is better than nothing. And I'm telling you, this is great advice. And this thing is practical things that we can all collectively do right now. When you get your next paycheck, go ahead and call your bank and see what they got to offer, right? Don't be disciplined. Maybe get one credit card. Don't open up a bunch of credit cards and cause yourself to have debt and to be paying endless amount of interest all the time. We already pay enough bills. Why do we want to do that to ourselves? Let's go ahead and reverse it and become savers and investors with our banks and let our money work for us instead of having our money just sitting in our checkings accounts or our savings accounts where the bank is making all the money, flipping our money, and we ain't making no money off it. We got to get in the game. As black people, we need to get in the game and do what rich people do, right? Even on our level, we need to do what rich people do, right? Because rich people have different habits, even though most rich people were born with money in their mouth, right? But in order to put yourself in a better position, these are things that we have to do. We have to do some personal austerity measures in order to benefit ourselves in the future. Because I promise you, one day life is going to smack you in the head, right? But you know what? You're going to be all right because you're going to have it, okay? Or one day you may want to really splurge on something. And you're going to be like, you know what? after I've already paid off my bills because I may have changed my habits, I can go ahead and splurge on something guilt-free, debt-free, interest-free. Okay, so I want you to take what I just said, that many YouTubers who are in the guru market of telling you how to be rich. Anybody, listen, becoming rich is difficult and lots of hard work. Okay, right? But putting yourself in a better financial situation, that's something we all can do. Okay, and that's better than where we are now. All right, so all these you can implement tomorrow. If you got $50 in your account, you can call your bank right now. You can go in your little app, look at your bank offers, see what, go in a little shopping section, see what kind of mutual funds or CDs are available. You can start it right now. Start those good habits right now. And I'm telling you, it'll become addicting to do this. And you be talking, you be flexing on them, flexing on your peers, right? Say, look what I did. Just like you got all those TikTok shows, TikTok content creators that showing you how to stuff money, right? How to stack physical money. This is the same thing, but this is doing it the big boy way. This is doing it the digital way. This is doing it the cashless way, the seamless way, the way you don't even have to pay attention to it. Once you set it up, it's already autopilot. All right. So that's my advice to you black folks. Do this. Do this now. Don't procrastinate. All right. The interest is waiting for you to compound it. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.